everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we have a very special guest all the way from California, Yvette Young.
Hi.
So today we're going to take a quick look about how you develop your own playing style. But all before that, let's nerd out a bit on what guitar do you use today?
Today on stage I'm going to be playing my signature Ibanez YY10 Slime Green Sparkle Talman. And I chose it because of the Strat pickup configuration.
Yes.
For the Tele style one, this is the YY20. I usually use it for my solo singer-songwriter stuff, but I'm not playing that today. So.
Why do you choose Ibanez guitars?
Honestly, when they approached me, I kind of was new to electric guitars, and I was playing Strandberg for a while, like the headless ergonomic guitars and extended range. And I was just kind of going through a phase where I was checking out extended range guitars, but I started on an SX Tele. And it was I didn't have money for a guitar back then, so I just traded a drum machine for it, and my friend sent it to me, and I fell in love with it. But then through playing Strandberg, I realized that I enjoy more traditional type guitars. And then I also realized that, so initially what put me off from Ibanez is I don't consider myself a metal shredder, and I thought all of their guitars are really pointy and metal, you know, and I was I don't know if that's for me. But then they introduced me to the Talman, which I had no idea about initially, and I was wow, I love how that looks, I love how it feels. It's the perfect hybrid between someone who enjoys a more traditional classic looking guitar, but it has the fast shredder neck that Ibanez is known for. And I remember putting the pickups from my SX Tele into the Talman, and I was this is my new favorite guitar in the world. In a guitar, I value how it sounds first, and then comfort, how it plays, and then lastly, of course, aesthetics. So in terms of these guitars, it feels exactly like how I would want a guitar to feel. Try it for yourself. I don't know if it would suit maybe someone who wants a more chuggy metal guitar, but Ibanez has tons of other options for that.
And what pedals do you use today?
I use all of these in front of us. I use a ton of, I have four delays in this board. I use them as a stutter effect. I use a lot of cool effects things like the microcosm, the ricochet, and the freak out. Octave pedal, OC5. I have 4 different gain pedals as well, because I'm switching between high gain, low gain, and then volume boost and fuzz and things like that. And of course I use a ton of chorus.
Yes, this is a huge pedal board.
Yes, it is, and I use every single pedal on this board.
Because your band Covet used a lot of odd time signatures, how did you get into this odd time signature writing?
I always listened to odd time signature music, and I feel I came from the classical world, and classical music is so not to a grid. It's very it flows, especially contemporary era stuff, romantic era stuff. So I never thought of music as to a grid. I always thought of music as something where it can have more beats in 1 meter, and then fewer beats in. So it's it's not da 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 da. It's da 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 da. So for me, when I write music, I sing it with my voice first. I don't know how to play it, and then once I have that fun melody in mind, I learn it on the fretboard, and I don't even think about it being odd time. It just ends up being on time most of the time because I'm singing it. I would say that I compose it in my head with my voice first. So I'm a lot of my riffs, I start out singing. And then I remember it, I take my phone out, and I'm just okay, da, 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 and then go home and I learn it on guitar.
Do you often challenge yourself, writing different music?
I feel I'm always just trying to grow. I'm never trying to release the same album twice, so for me it's important. My interests have changed. Initially, I think I wrote more techie, tappy stuff, but I honestly don't care about that anymore. I just want to write something emotional and something that gets stuck in people's heads.
Oh, so then that brings up to my next question. How do you name your songs? Do you think of a theme first and write it accordingly, or you just have a riff or a sound and then you name it?
I think I do a little bit of both, but most of the time I play a riff and then I put it through pedals and I have a song, and I'm oh, this song sounds like a character, or it sounds like a place. So I think every song for me has a story in mind. Off of the newest record, Catharsis, every song is supposed to be a different character from a different universe. and you're kind of going through different themes in this fantasy world.
Yeah, because when I hear your music, I think I'm always brought to a very like a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Yeah, the archetype signature, I think sometimes it's really brainstorming. Like you have to focus to count. That's what I do when I listen to music. Sometimes when I just enjoy it, it flows.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't count anything when I write at all.
So you don't say like, okay, so next bar I'm gonna just switch to some odd time signature.
No, I don't know how I write any of this stuff. I usually learn it afterwards because I have to tell my drummer what I did. So, yeah.
So how do you write your songs with your band?
I just write the songs, and then I mean, for the last record I wrote the bass parts too, so I just write everything. Here's the song.
So you mostly like brought up everything?
Yeah.
Oh. So could you show us like how one of your songs are made, like since the very beginning?
Yeah, let me think. I could show you Love Spell. So the tuning right now is F, A, C, G, C, E, but then I put the capo in 3. So this one, I remember I mentioned to you that a lot of my songs start out with singing, and I remember I was in the car and I just like thought of a melody. I thought of like ba 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 da 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 da, and I like sang that. I was like, I really like how it goes up and down, and it's so simple. So I remember I went home and I was just like messing around with it, like. So there's that, and so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna develop that into something. So I've changed the root now. And I was like, okay, but I kind of want it to sound a little more like upbeat, so I made it like kind of dotted feel. So I kind of was like, oh, I like that feel. It kind of is a little more like upbeat instead of like flowy and just straight. So, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna embellish it a little bit. A lot of times I start out with something very simple, and then I start to complicate things. So to add interest, I think about timbre and textures a lot. Textures with pedals, textures with how I'm approaching like attack versus like and then harmonics, which are great ways to like surprise your ear. So and I think I wanted to sound a little moody, so I changed the root note here. I love that chord, it's so sad. And then different notes. So of course, I didn't just do all that. I like pieced it little bit by bit, and I wrote that second part. Oh. So that all started for me just like humming in my car.
So this just unfolds itself.
I just sit there. Sometimes a riff will take me like 5 hours to write, just because I'm trying to make the best decisions. I think everyone can jam, and so I was sitting there just jamming on, you know? And then I think the key to good songwriting is focusing on making the best decisions. So that's why it takes me so long, because I'm like, oh, it could go so many ways, but like, what do I want to do to make it the most memorable and to make it like not overcomplicate things, but also keep it interesting?
Yes, it's very hard.
Yes.
It's the hardest part.
Yeah, and it's, again, so subjective. But I think for me, a riff is finished when I get really excited about it and I'm like having fun playing it.
Yeah. So a lot of your songs involves tapping.
Yes.
Like, and I think a lot of people struggles playing tapping. I'm really wondering like how you play your tapping so well with just a clean tone.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any tips and tricks that can help us like get it easier to play?
Yeah, heavier string gauge, lighter strings tend to kind of like slip around, and it's easy to like, you know, like bend it flat or like dead in the note. So I usually use like 11s or 12s. I would say I come from a piano background. I started out playing piano. So for me, my finger strength is already there. A lot of people think tapping is about like your individual fingers, like.
Yes.
But it's not about your fingers. It's actually about using your whole hand.
Okay.
So it's like.
Oh, it's like playing the piano.
Yeah. Another thing is, when you're up here, if you use your left hand to deaden the note, you can get a nicer tone. Otherwise, you get overtones. It rings up. So it's like a fret rap. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can like add an open string. Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so you use your whole elbow to the wrist motion.
And then in the fret itself, like, you know, I think in the middle is the best place.
Oh, I thought it was to the fret. Oh, okay. Wow. It's very easy to play on heavier string gauge.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I had 9s on my telly.
You're not going to get a good tapping tone of that. Because you bend stuff sharp, because you need to use your whole hand.
Ah.
I like tap slides, like... Yeah,
so with heavier string gauge, you can have more sustain.
Yeah, definitely. So then I kind of combine finger picking. Like another thing people always do is they finger pick down here, and then they tap up here.
Yes.
And so actually most of the set, my hands, I'm finger picking here, and it feels weird, but it's just so I can like go into tapping. So like I'm like floating the whole time, and I'm not anchoring my hand. It's kind of just like.
Cool. Could you show us like how you use different pickup positions in your playings?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the pickup positions for me matter the most when I'm using effects. Right now, I can't really demonstrate that, but for some songs where I need a little more like, I guess crunch. I feel like I use an AC30 live, and I push the tubes on this position because I find that it's just a little more
more output?
Yeah, more output, and it's like, I think the EQ balance, I find it to be a little more mid-heavy. So anything kind of chunky. I kind of use like that pickup position. This one I use for all my chorus because it's like noiseless, so you don't have the going on. And then it's kind of just more, I feel like the EQ distribution is a little more chimey and like bright, so it sounds really good with chorus.
Yes, more sparkly.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about the middle position?
I'm rarely there. I don't really use it that much. I actually am rarely on these three positions, but I think for some effects, like certain distortions kind of can sound very interesting down here. So, but I never touch it.
Because you also play classical music, and now you play the guitar. Who was your biggest musical influence?
Maybe like soundtrack composers. I think really admire their ability to paint a universe and to convince you of a mood or something. So I think in all my music, I love to have that emotional quality.
Yeah. Because when I listen to your music, I always see things.
That's cool.
You know, and then I go watch your music video, and that's pretty much exactly what I thought.
That's so cool.
Especially it's like I can see some colors in your music. Yeah,
that means a lot to me because I think when I sit down, that's number one. What I aspire to is I'm trying to tell a story, and so for me, I think I feel the most successful as a musician when I play something and I don't tell someone what it's about at all, and they can see it and hear it too.
Yeah, especially when there's no lyrics for it.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for today. Thanks for sharing such a unique way of playing tapping. I think I already learned a lot from you for this like 5-minute course.
I'm glad.
Mini course. And I believe people in front of the screen are already like practicing and like struggling to find where this new position are.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, please stay tuned and make sure to check out their music if you haven't. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.